my friend. Welcome into the studio today. I am glad you're here with me. I'm Linda Glover Gooch, and today we have a lesson. So lots of this is very closely related to my air color, and I teach with my air color a lot. I paint with my air color. It's a mixture that I came up with years ago at the Grand Canyon, and I found it helpful in teaching students how to portray the vast views through the canyon. So I have just a short lesson for you here today. I think that these short, quick lessons are great because we're all very busy, and I try to pull some of those very important parts out of my different paintings that I'm working on and make lessons into them. I am working on a large piece. I have it behind me. I thought maybe I'd just talk a little bit about the process again. There's been lots of questions about my planning process, painting process, and I think it's pretty interesting to see how everybody has their own approach of how they get to where they're going. So behind me, I have it's about a 35 by 41. But I am doing a sky scene with the Sonoran Desert in it. And so my process, I like to put on a wash. So I did this orange underwash yesterday. It's already dry. I ran out of steam, didn't make it down here. So this afternoon, I am going to do some work on the foreground. So this painting for me is really about the emotion for me of the glistening light. Yes, it has a predominant cloud. I remember about the light and that was going on with the light that day. So for me, this scene is going to be about the glistening light. The clouds are going to be predominant and secondary will be the landscape. This particular scene, I want the glistening light to be such a important part. So there's an emotion in that for me, an emotion internally that I was drawn to when I watched this. So in starting, I worked with my photos in Photoshop, and I do have a video where I talk about the planning process. This video right here, I will set it into the replay and link it also. You can go watch this video about how I plan my paintings, the different processes I go to. It'll take you about into the photos and some other things. So go watch this video after this one. What my hope is that the cloud pulls you in and the light, that glistening light, and then when you get closer to the painting, you like travel through it and you're like, wow, I want the cloud to be predominant, but it's about the atmosphere and the light happening in the cloud. So I did multiple sketches here, and then I made some notes to myself, and these are proportioned out exactly as the proportion to my canvas, which I teach that quite a bit, and there is a video about using a proportional wheel on my YouTube channel as well. So I proportion that out, then I picked the one that I like the foreground. Now, predominantly the clouds changed a little bit, but this was the foreground that I landed on. So that was part of that. Now, I have a study of the sky started. It's a different foreground, but really what I'm after is the feeling. So that's about the feeling of what's happening. I am changing this cloud a little bit different than the photo because I change my paintings. I don't stay married to the photo, and I've taught that quite a bit to students. So that is my plan. That's where I'm going. This is just a thought process for you to know about, hear about. Hopefully it's helpful to you. Let's get to work, to the easel. Now my job is to execute it, which let's see how that rolls. I'm going to take you back in time. We are jumping in as I apply that thin wash. I'm using Gamsol. My mixture is probably got yellow ochre and cat orange and
you know, maybe some transparent red oxide. I change it every time. I just wanted a nice soft peach. Then I came in and I wiped away and sculpted my drawing. That dried for a day before I started working on it using my air color. I think the main takeaway in this is I want you to notice all the variety: light, warm, cool, darker. That air color with variety of gray blues. And I wiped away a few spots, just trying to find my way through this, designing that cloud. Once I had that underbase where I wanted it, now I'm starting to pull in some of my fat frosting, the fat lights of the clouds. And I'll work on that. I'll lay some in, and then I start coming back and working up into them, pulling the fat frosting white. It's a warm white. It's a white and yellow ochre. Pulling it down into the cloud, working the cloud colors back up into the fat light paint. Now all this has to be done wet into wet, so this whole area is still all wet. I prefer to try to do all of this with everything wet if possible. Don't always get it done. But this is a lot of hours of just maneuvering paint back and forth. Once I get a significant amount of the cloud going, now I'm going to start working in some of the sky colors. A dark cloud hovering up in the top left-hand corner, some silver grays to build some layers of atmospheric clouds and different things happening in the sky.
Well, I am working my way back onto this, so I've been showing you bits and pieces of this earlier. This painting is really, really dry, and you know, a lot of times I talk about oiling out. Well, I am not going to oil this out up here. Now, up here in this sky area, where this dark cloud is, there's no finished edges as of yet. So you can see it's pretty rough along some of those edges up there. I don't want to oil this area out. The reason being, number one, it's a pretty big canvas. I don't want to have to take it down, oil it out. Even though everything is dry, I still feel like I've painted enough of these that I can approach this back at this dry state without oiling it out. So I'm going to work this up through here, and you know, I just have some decisions to make, and these are the areas where maybe sometimes people trip up about where they're going. So my study is not gone any further. This was like the beginning thought process, and I do have my sketches as well, my thumbnails that I had done, and I showed them earlier in some of the other videos. But beyond those sketches and beyond the study, and really even beyond what I have there, is I have my memory. So I'm going for a certain mood and feeling. I talked about it earlier, and now I'm like perplexed of how to get there. I want a certain quality of light that I've seen in the desert. So for my foreground down here, I am going for a certain quality of light, and it's sort of a glistening light that was in the desert when I was out there shooting these scenes, and I've painted out there a lot with the glistening light is what I'm going to call it. Oh, so how do I get there? Yeah. This is the thing. How do I get there? You know, we have memories and we have thoughts, and we may even have photographs, or we might even have studies of certain times. But even when you have those, getting it onto your canvas, getting it out of your heart, your mind, your creative spirit, out your arm and onto the surface is always another trick. So I'm getting ready to move on with this, and I'm going to be filming stages. I'll take you through it, but right now I'm at the sort of Not stuck. I'm not stuck, but I'm at the stage of what do I do next? And I still have a decision to make about this big dark cloud in front. It actually is in the image, but I shot several images during that photo shoot when I was out there. It's actually there, but I don't know, like I feel like there's this line here. And now these are some of the things and the decisions you'll find that you have to make when you're painting clouds. Like for me, almost it's sort of a boring line right here. And there's something in me that I want to drop this down a little bit further to break this. So I want to drop this down a little bit further right here to break this area. And I am not all convinced about this shape. Now, I might just go in there and ruin the whole thing. I don't know, but I'm going to get back on it and see where I can go with it. All right. To be continued.
So I get back up and I am actually working on that edge that I said was pretty rough, where that dark cloud had come down into the sky and dried, and I just spend a lot of time bringing those values and colors back up in there to really soften all of that. Now you can see me attacking that big cloud where I said I did not like that shape. There was two curves that were kind of identical shapes, and it just was not pleasing, and I'm still not happy with the dark cloud. So now I am building on top of it and trying to pull some dimension forward, bringing more fullness to that big cloud. I just felt like it was unfinished. And so I continue. You can see me using a very large soft fan brush. That's a Hornberg Premier fan brush. They're very soft. And just softening. I don't even get any paint hardly on those. I am barely hitting the edge. Now, I never really got my light rays and this horizon filmed. I do not know what happened to the filming, but you saw the bulk of the cloud. And then we have the finished frame piece, the painting Sonoran Thunder hanging at the show.
All right, my friend. Thanks again for coming into the studio today. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and I hope that you're subscribed. If not, think about subscribing too. And then I'll see you at the next video. Ciao.